I made a choice and I chose healthy. When I made a choice, it made me wealthy. You have a choice. Will you choose healthy? Choosing healthy with Monica.
Always get your doctor's approval before embarking upon a ketogenic intermittent fasting and/or exercise regimen. Information shared on this platform is not a substitute for professional, medical, nutritional, or exercise advice. This is for motivational, informational, and educational purposes only. Welcome to Choosing Healthy with Monica Carole. I'm super excited that you have tuned in to hear what I have to say about intentional self-care and why it is critically important for us to engage in that activity. So before we do that, would you go ahead and please hit the like button for me and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And also please share this with your friends and family so that they too can be empowered, educated, and motivated to choose healthy daily. All right, so let's get started. So in my inaugural video, I talked about how I achieved my 70-pound weight loss goal during the pandemic. While many of us may have been experiencing the quarantine 5, 10, 20, 25, I was just determined that I was not going to allow anything, even this pandemic, to keep me from achieving the goals that I had set for myself to achieve in January 2020. So my main goal for 2020 was to get under 200 pounds. I've never been under 200 pounds as an adult, nor as a teenager. And so it was very critical for me to achieve that goal during 2020. And by the grace of God, I was able to achieve that goal. But not only did I have that as a goal, but I also had the goal of getting in a normal A1C range. And so I was able to achieve that as well. And so I'm grateful for those successes. And I was so happy to break that news through this platform. But how did I reach those goals? I would be very frank with you. And this is what we're talking about today. I met that goal through intentional self-care. And when I say the word intentional, I mean deliberate action that I had to take. And in fact, self-care is defined as deliberate actions that one takes to improve one's health or to preserve it. And so in order for you to reach your goals, you have to engage in intentional, deliberate action to improve your health. And it doesn't happen by osmosis. It can't happen by just being a standby, just by standing by, doing nothing. You have to do something. You have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate about this. And so that's the big thing that I wanted to share with you. And so, and I think, when January came, before the pandemic even came, there have been already epidemics in the U.S. that really need to get our attention today. And that's the epidemic of obesity. The obesity rates continue. The prevalence of obesity continues to rise in this society, as well as the prevalence of type 2 diabetes. And pre-diabetes is something that we need to look more at, because if you can stop pre-diabetes or reverse pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes will never happen. And so pre-diabetes happen at even younger and younger ages. And so we really got to focus on that as a society, as an individual, and then as a society. And then the other epidemic that's prevalent in our society is heart disease. And that is still the #1 killer in America. And so we've got to focus on this, and all of those diseases that I talked to you about are all a part of the metabolic syndrome, a part of the metabolic triad, whatever school of thought you operate within. Those are all metabolic diseases. And so if we can address it through several mechanisms that I will share with you, then we can help reverse this and prevent this stuff from happening. Okay. So anyway, when the pandemic came, that just really lit a fire and under me to really move forward in this thing. And one of the reasons is I've read several research papers that talked about how those that died of the coronavirus had comorbidities. And I talked to you in the last video about how African Americans are disproportionately impacted by the coronavirus. And why is that? It's because of those comorbidities, the diabetes, heart disease, the obesity, and there are other factors as well. It's not just limited to those. But those were some of the main threes that I kept seeing in some of the research that I was reading. And that really lit a fire into me that, man, I need to get this handled. And I need to practice the self-care that will help me to make an impact in those areas to prevent those things. Because all three of those that I mentioned, the heart disease, diabetes, obesity, are things that are generational, in my family. And so I just decided, the buck stops here and we're doing something different. And so anyway, intentional self-care. How can we do that? How can I flesh this out and actually make this practical in my life? So for me, self-care looks like eating healthier food, eating whole foods, eating foods that are not processed, that are non-GMO, that are organic. In fact, that was one motivation for me to start my garden out there so that I have quick and easy access to healthy foods. And so that is a part of it. In fact, I heard Dr. Fauci, who's a part of the whole coronavirus task force, talk about how one reason why African Americans are more susceptible to this coronavirus is because of the lack of access to healthy food. And then he also talked about the comorbidities. So that having access to healthy food is key. And so we can solve that by starting to grow our own food. And so you'll see my videos. If you see me on Facebook, I'm always posting pictures of my harvest for the week to just encourage and motivate others to start growing their own food and really deliberately take control and engage in self-care practices. And so to me, self-care for me is me growing my own food. Or if I'm not growing my own food, it means me going to the store and getting whole foods instead of packaged foods or processed foods. So eating low carb foods will also help those foods that have a lower glycemic index that won't cause, your insulin levels to spike so high. Eating fruit that have a lower glycemic index like berries, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. Eating vegetables that have a lower glycemic index, not the starchy carbs like your potatoes, rice, bread, sugar, so eliminating that and focusing more on the lower glycemic vegetables and fruits. And then I've adopted the ketogenic diet for my lifestyle, and I eat anywhere between 20 to 50 carbs daily. Another thing as it relates to diet is that we need to reduce the frequency in which we eat. Many of us were brought up on eating 3 meals a day and having 3 snacks a day. That's not necessary. If we can just eliminate snacks and go back to the 3 meals a day, I think that'll be one step in the right direction. In addition to that, another component of self-care is getting in exercise daily. In fact, the American Heart Association recommends you getting at least 30 to 60 minutes of activity in daily. In fact, I wrote a blog post in September that I will put the link of it in the description of this video so that you can read that and see, not just to see, why exercise is important and what the benefits are. Just high level, some of the benefits are mental health benefits. Having focus when you need to get your work done for the day, having that extra energy, improving and boosting your immune system, helping in weight loss. Helping in preventing heart disease. There's so many different benefits to exercise that I probably couldn't name them all. But please check out that blog post. I'll definitely put the link in the description of this video. But yeah, integrating, having intentionally planning exercise in your daily routine is critical. Also, another component is getting in enough sleep, getting at least 7 to 8, maybe 9 hours of sleep in daily. That's critical. It helps reduce your cortisol levels. It allows for all the functions that need to occur during the night to occur, and that just helps with your overall health. And then practicing in self-care activities that help to bring your stress levels down. Such as yoga, maybe mindfulness, doing breathing exercises, taking a walk in nature, perhaps reading a book, listening to soothing music, maybe going to a counselor and working through any issues that you may need to deal with so you can move forward. For me, gardening is a wonderful exercise in self-care because in fact, there's research that says that gardening helps to reduce depression levels. But for me, it's just a really nice getaway from the norm. I can go outside in nature and take care of my green babies. I love my green babies. Anyway, but yeah, you have to find out what is that intentional self-practice that you can implement in your life to help improve your health. And I'm not just talking about health like physical health, but mental health and your spiritual health. What is it that lights your spirit, that lights up your spirit? What is it that makes you happy, that motivates you? And make sure you get that in your life daily. So that's all I have to say about self-care. Just make it intentional, be deliberate. Make sure you have an action plan to get that done. And in case you didn't know, I have a self-care challenge going on this month. Go to my website, monicacurley.com, and please follow my blog there. And please join in to the self-care challenge. And I will be excited to have you on this journey with me to choosing healthy. And in addition, if you need even more support, I'm also offering motivational coaching services. You can sign up on my website as well. And I would be happy for you to be my client. And I'd be happy to help you on your journey. But let's get it, guys. Let's not forsake getting self-care. It is critical. All right. Much love to you guys. Stay tuned, stay on lines because we're getting ready to go into my garden. And I hope that you have already planted your fall garden. It's time. All right, let's get it. Now it's time for my garden segment. So I wanted to start with my peppers. I have experienced a lot of growth here with the cowhorn hot peppers. As you can see, I have a good number of peppers that have started growing in various stages of growth. Here, got some over here. Yep. So these are supposed to turn red, but I'm sure I can pull some of them off at the green stage if I just wanted some pepper to throw in a dish that I'm cooking. And then my habanero peppers are blooming, and I believe I saw one forming. Yeah, so I have a little baby right there that's in process, and there's several blooms throughout, so super excited about that. These are surrounded by cilantro plants that I have, and whenever I'm making a dish or eating a salad or what have you, I just come out and just snip the top of it and add that to my dish. I also have some cilantro over here. And my fall garden, in fact, I just literally pulled up my cucumber plant to make space for my fall plants. So this was my last little baby from the cucumber plant that I had. And so here I have some cabbage. I have some collard greens sprinkled throughout as well. And I still have my jalapeno plant that I'm not going to pull up because it's still vibrant. I have some the skinny peppers here, and then I have some jalapeno peppers on this side right here. You see it? Okay, there it is. And there's one here. Several of them sprinkled throughout. So they're continuing to form. So I'm gonna keep it out here as long as it's viable. And then I have my green onions. We've been eating a lot of green onions lately, and now that this fall time has come, winter time frame is coming, we'll be eating a lot more soup, so I'll definitely be using a lot more green onions in that as well. Then I have my kale. These are curly kale plants. I still have the cherry tomatoes out here. Still got blooms that are coming on it, interestingly enough. And on the mature tomato plant, I still have some tomatoes that are in various stages of growth. My heirloom tomatoes are still proliferating, so as you can see, I still have plenty of tomatoes on the vine. So we'll keep that here as long as it continues to produce. Habanero plants still doing a great job. Still saw some new babies coming. I call them my little green babies coming. So and my bell peppers are still growing. It's a big one right there. And I have these Big Bertha bell peppers that are on here. It's almost time for me to harvest those. So super excited about that, and plenty of the little snackable miniature peppers. In here, I did put, since I had a little space, put some curly kale in there. And over here, I have a mixture of cabbage and Brussels sprouts in this pot planter. And then over here, I have some romaine lettuce. I have some curly kale and some mustard greens in the berry bag. So super excited about that. Can't wait to cook these and get it going in the kitchen. And use the romaine in my salad. So that's going to be awesome. Super excited about my fall garden. This will be the very first time I've ever grown one. And so far so good. I've had my plants for about a week or two now. And I can already start to see the signs of growth. I just got my collard greens, so you can see how little they are. They're tiny right now, but my other plants that I just showed you, the mustard greens, and those over here, I've had at least two or 3 weeks. Yeah. So anyway, happy gardening, guys. Grow your own food. It's worth it. It's a key ingredient to choosing healthy every day. All right, guys, let's make today great and healthy. Let's get it. This is my green beans, organic green beans, tomato, onion, garlic, and jalapeno pepper stir fry that I'm making for tonight's dinner. I'll be eating this along with some chicken legs. These are made with vegetables from my garden. If you want the recipe, let me know. Let's choose healthy. Let's get it. Please support my mission to empower, educate, and motivate others to choose healthy through this platform. You can do that by going to patreon.com/Monica Akerele. Your support will help advance this mission to get this message spread across the United States and beyond. Also, if you're interested in signing up for one-on-one coaching with me, I am accepting new clients. So sign up by clicking the link in the show notes as well to set up an appointment with me, and I'll be happy to help motivate you on your choosing healthy journey. Lastly, please follow me on my blog at monicaakerele.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Those links are provided in the show notes as well. I just want to thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Choosing Healthy with Monica Akerele video. Make today great and healthy. Let's get it.
Choosing healthy with Monica.